Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more short-term technical analysis on Bitcoin because in today's video, I want to discuss this breakout that happened a little while ago yesterday here on the Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin has gone ahead and actually broken this level of resistance here around $5,200 or so. This was an important level of resistance because if you remember to the last video that went up on the channel, you will know that we were discussing this ascending triangle pattern right here and whether or not Bitcoin was going to break bullish out of it or break bearish out of it. In that video, I talked about how I thought it was probably going to break bearish, but there was a pretty good chance that it would break bullish as well. And if Bitcoin were indeed to break bullish, how far it broke bullish would tell us just how strong the bulls still are in Bitcoin. And as you guys can see, Bitcoin only rallied about $120 here after managing to break a level of resistance. That could mean that the bulls are not as strong as they've used to be. And it could validate our theory that a new Bitcoin downtrend is coming in the next couple of weeks. But either way, guys, we're going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video. We're going to be discussing this breakout and where I think Bitcoin is going to be headed here over these next couple of weeks. So if you guys enjoy the video, definitely consider dropping a like and hitting that subscribe button. And also remember, guys, today is the last day of the cryptocurrency technical analysis sale. Easter 2019 is still going on. You guys are loving that sale. So if you guys have been looking to get a CT2A, this is the last time. I'm not extending this. 24 hours are left on this sale. All right, so without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Bitcoin is currently trading around $5,286 and some change. Actually, not any change. It's trading at exactly that right now. But Bitcoin has actually, like I said, gone ahead and managed to rally through here. Broke resistance at $5,200. This was an important level of resistance because as you guys will see here on the chart, Bitcoin had quite a bit of touch on this level of resistance. Bitcoin touched this level of resistance and touches the level of support many times as well. Many times. Very important level that we've been looking at here for the last several days, and Bitcoin did manage to get above it. Bitcoin was, of course, in a consolidation pattern here, an ascending triangle pattern with support there, resistance there, and Bitcoin had actually moved down into this, so we would have expected that Bitcoin would have broken bearish out of it as well, but that's not what happened. Bitcoin has actually broken bullish, and like I said, when you see Bitcoin break out of a consolidation pattern or any kind of other tightening range, any kind of pattern that squeezes Bitcoin in on itself, whenever Bitcoin in general even breaks a level of resistance or support, typically, I've said this many times, you get a time where the market is clairvoyant. You get a zone of clairvoyance, and what that means is that you get to see just how strong the bulls are. For example, the bulls are not terribly strong right now, else Bitcoin would be up here at like $5,600. But likewise, the bears aren't terribly strong right now, or Bitcoin would be trading below this uptrend of support rather than this flat level of resistance. So Bitcoin breaking out in this way, now that we've seen this breakout, gives us a pretty good idea of how strong the bulls are in relation to the bears. And it seems that the bulls are still slightly stronger than the bears. The bulls are still managing to hold their weight, but it's not that they're much stronger than them. If maybe 55 to 60% of the strength in the market is in favor of the bulls, they're definitely still slightly stronger right now based on what we've seen here over the last couple of days, but I don't think that that's going to continue for reasons that we've discussed many times on the channel. Something that we haven't discussed lately on the channel is the shorts and the longs charts. I used to look at these quite a bit more, but they haven't had a whole lot of interesting data for us lately. But over the last couple of weeks, Bitcoin shorts have been jumping through the moon. As you guys can see, Bitcoin shorts are sitting up here around 30,000, up from around 18 to 19,000 where they were halfway through April. And it does seem that they may be continuing to rise. As we can see here over the last couple of days, we've seen some green here in the shorts, and people seem to be opening more short positions. Likewise, on the flip side, Bitcoin's longs have been crashing. Bitcoin's longs are sitting up here around 26,000, right around where Bitcoin's shorts are sitting right now, halfway through April, and now they have gone ahead and crashed all the way down to around 18,000. The shorts and the longs have switched places, and while yes, many people, including myself, have used that as a contrarian signal before, saying that when everybody is shorting, then it's potentially likely that all those people are wrong. If you look on the chart here, what you're going to find is that a lot of times when shorts are that high, when they get really high, you're going to find that that's around the low point in the market, like December 7th, that was a low point. Back over here in early September and late August, that was a low point. If we look over here in late August, that was right over here. Right over here, the shorts were high. Right over here, the shorts were high. So yes, it does typically mean that when shorts get all the way up here to 35, 40, 45,000, that there's probably a correction coming. But when the shorts start moving to the upside in general at the start, that's typically where you get the warning signs that some kind of downtrend is coming. And that's what we're seeing right now. So watch out for that. It wouldn't be surprising to me if we did see a downtrend the next couple of weeks, especially considering all the technicals that we've been discussing here over the last couple of weeks about Bitcoin wanting a correction. Now, just because the technicals say that Bitcoin wants a correction, of course, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. Because when we're doing our TA right now, we have to keep in mind that even though there are many technicals pointing Bitcoin to the downside, there are still bullish technicals and there are still plenty of bullish fundamentals for Bitcoin. So those can override some of our technical analysis and allow Bitcoin to move to the upside, even when in a neutral market, we would expect Bitcoin to crash here and Bitcoin to start moving to the downside here based on our technical analysis. So it's not terribly surprising that Bitcoin rallies, considering we're so close to a bull market and everybody's talking about 2019 ending in a bull run. It's not really surprising that the bulls are stronger than they should be based on the technical analysis, and that we're misjudging it a little bit because of that technical analysis and because of how bullish people are. I think that's just some adjusting we're going to have to do as the bull market comes in. That's something that we always have to do when a bull market starts or when a bear market starts, is we have to adjust how the bulls and the bears react to a market. This is something that I'm going to be doing a video on in CT2A in the future, and that is understanding how strong the bulls and the bears are depending on what the market condition at the time is like. And that is something that we've covered briefly in a video on market sentiment. So if you're in the course, go watch this video. I do talk about the strength of the bulls and the bears in relation to where we are inside the market cycles, whether we're in a bull market accumulation phase or bear market. But in general, when Bitcoin is moving into a bull market, the bulls are going to be stronger than you would normally perhaps give them credit for. And the same thing is true in the inverse for bear markets. And since we're moving into a bull market and since we're so close to it, the hype that we're seeing is a good reason to believe that the market will keep going up potentially. A good example of that was people saying that $10,000 would be the top over here in December of 2017. All the technicals, including the RSI, for example, were saying that Bitcoin should have had a pullback long ago before it went all the way up to $20,000. But sometimes technicals do get ignored, and that's a very important concept, is knowing when to ignore or when to otherwise write off technical analysis. Knowing when not to follow the technical analysis is actually probably one of the most important parts of technical analysis, if you can believe that. Because sometimes the fundamentals are going to override the TA. Sometimes the hype in the market or the overall sentiment in the market is going to override some of the TA, and that's perfectly fine. You just have to be able to work with that, because you can actually roll that over and call that technical analysis as well. Either way, I do want to go ahead and look at some different technical indicators to try and get to the bottom of where we're going to go here over the next couple of weeks. I do want to point out that, like I said, even though the sentiment is very bullish right now and a lot of people are expecting a bull market to come, and that is definitely coloring what the market is doing, the technical indicators are still saying the same thing, because these are mathematical equations and they don't really take into account how people feel. They don't take into account emotions. These are based on mathematical equations such as the MACD, the RSI, the stochastic RSI, etc. The daily chart is bearish on the MACD. The RSI is sitting at a very important level on the daily chart, and it's sitting above an uptrend right here. As you can see, Bitcoin is sitting just above an uptrend right there, and if Bitcoin does go ahead and fall below that, that is going to be bearish. And in fact, as I've discussed in previous videos, Bitcoin has already technically fallen below the uptrend that we were watching before. Those are a couple of bearish signs. The weekly stochastic RSI, very important one. As I've talked about many times as well, stochastic RSI is not an indicator that you necessarily want to follow just because it's overbought and oversold. Same with the RSI. But when it starts moving in a general direction, when you start seeing it trend in a certain direction, that's when you want to start taking signals from it. And as you guys can see, stochastic RSI is starting to curve down. Give it a couple weeks. I think we'll probably be back down here to around 80 and moving to the downside. Guys, I know I've been saying this for a while, but as every single day goes by, the next downtrend on Bitcoin gets longer. Because if I put this in the title, you will know that Bitcoin has been in a state of rally for over 3 months now. This is the fourth month that Bitcoin has been rallying. Bitcoin started rallying back here on the 8th of February. February, March, April, May. Do the math. That's almost 90 days of rally. If we go ahead and check right here on the 8th, all the way to where we are now, Bitcoin has been rallying for 82 days. So Bitcoin has been rallying for a very long time. If we look back in history here, the rally that led from $3,000 all the way up to $20,000 back here in the bull market was only 94 days, and this was at the end of a bull market, not at the beginning of a bull market. So guys, one thing you have to also keep in mind is that markets are cyclical. They will move to the upside sometimes and they will move to the downside sometimes. But you want to understand that when a market's been moving to the upside, every single day that it's in a state of rally, you're getting one day closer to a downtrend. And every single day that a market is moving to the downside, you're getting one step closer, one day closer to an uptrend. So every day that passes here, we are counting our time and we are getting closer and closer to a Bitcoin downtrend. Now, perhaps we don't need it. Perhaps Bitcoin can move into a bull market without it. Very possible. Like I said, with how excited everyone is, that wouldn't really surprise me. But based on the technicals and based on the way these markets have moved in the past and based on the way that we can expect them reasonably to move in the future, I would expect to see some kind of downtrend before the next bull market starts. And like I've said, I don't want to put an exact time date, an exact time period, or an exact price prediction on that kind of downtrend. I think it's going to happen, but I don't want to put exact predictions on it because, like like I said, when we're in this kind of state, sometimes the technicals will be a little less important, and that's okay, but we do have to keep that in mind. Even though the technicals are a little less important, we could still predict the markets more accurately if we were to be able to read market sentiment perfectly, but we don't have any technical indicators that can read market sentiment as accurately as we can read something like the MACD or the RSI. So it throws a little bit of uncertainty into your technical analysis when there's a bunch of hype in the market like there has been over the last couple of weeks. It's much harder to do accurate short-term predictions on it. Long-term, it's still very easy to predict. Very much are we bullish. Bitcoin is definitely going to be entering a bull market this year, excuse me. At least I think that. I shouldn't say definitely, but if all goes according to plan, I think we will. Either way, guys, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about in today's video. I believe that Bitcoin has actually shown signs of bullishness. It seems that the bulls still are in control, and this is what I was really waiting for before I really made any big predictions about what Bitcoin was going to do with downtrends, perhaps. I wanted to see if Bitcoin was going to break this uptrend of support, because that uptrend of support does also happen to correlate with the 20-daily exponential moving average. So since Bitcoin is still above this and we have bounced off of it, Bitcoin is still in a state of rally, and that's fine. Bitcoin is still moving to the upside. It is still able to maintain support on that 20-daily exponential moving average rather than resistance on it. So while Bitcoin is doing that, Bitcoin is still in a rally, but don't expect it to last forever, guys. What goes up must come down. What goes down must come up in the case of markets, and I do think that we're going to see that kind of correction. Perhaps we break $6,000 and we start going to the moon and it doesn't happen, but that would be very unlikely, and it would be very irresponsible of me to make a prediction to that caliber. Either way, guys, like I said, tell me in the comment section down below what you think of today's video. Where do you think Bitcoin is going to head here over the next couple of weeks? Do you think that this little rally here in Bitcoin, this little uptrend in Bitcoin here, is kind of just a little fake out? Do you think Bitcoin's going to start moving to the downside again like it has over the last couple of hours here? Do you think Bitcoin is going to have that new downtrend that I've been discussing for a while come in this week, in the next couple of weeks? And do you think it's going to happen at all? Do you think Bitcoin is just going to start a bull market? Let's get a conversation going down below, guys. I love discussing with you in the comment section down below. And I also love discussing with you in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy and over email. Because like I said, we had over 100 people. We had, I think, about 106 people join CT2A in the month of April. It is now May, and this is indeed the last day of the sale. So if you guys have been looking forward to joining the course or looking forward to learning about technical analysis, check the link in the description. Use the Easter 2019 coupon code, and you'll be able to get into the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, guys. Like I said, we've had over 100 people join this month. If I remember, I'm quite busy this morning, but if I remember, I will throw proof of that up on screen. I really don't mind. We've had a ton of people join, and even though I discussed in today's video some of the limitations of technical analysis, I want you to understand that 90% of the time, if all you use is technical analysis, you write off fundamentals, you write off news. Even if you get rid of all those things, technical analysis is going to be able to predict the market with extreme accuracy if you are a very advanced technical analyst. And the better you get at it, the more accurate your predictions are going to be more of the time. And when you are able to understand how these markets move, it's much easier to trade them for a profit. And as I've said in many videos, guys, the most important thing that you do when you've been in a market for less than 5 years, if you're not an absolute expert in this market, the most important thing for you to do and for us to do, I don't know everything. I never claim to. I'm not like a #1 expert, but I do know what I'm talking about. If you are newer to the market, especially, what you want to do is before you start trading and investing in the market and spending a ton of money trying to learn the market in that way and throwing money at the market and saying, here, I want to throw $2,000 at the market. We're going to just bet that Bitcoin moves up here because it broke bullish out of this consolidation pattern. Surely Bitcoin's going to rally to $6,000. I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. Before you do something like that, or before you bet on something that a YouTuber said, perhaps I say something, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Normally I'm right, but sometimes I'm wrong. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. Normally you're right, but sometimes you're wrong. You never know, because you want to know what you're doing before you go and start throwing money at the market. I know this from firsthand experience because that's how I learned. I would throw money at the market, I'd watch YouTube videos, and I'd realize, okay, I did this wrong, I did this wrong. I learned by trial and error, and there's nothing wrong with that, but in the cryptocurrency market, that can get very expensive very quickly, and just about no matter what you do, you're probably going to end up spending more money, and you're probably going to end up losing more money than the money that you would have put into purchasing the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, while also getting all of that information in a structured manner rather than having to amalgamate it all in your head as you're going. You can come in here and reference this material until the end of time, guys. You will have access to this until the internet goes down, which is honestly never going to happen, of course. If that happens, then us being in the cryptocurrency space, we have bigger things to worry about than the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. But guys, I do want you to know that this is the last day, and we've had hundreds of people go through CT2A, and all of them have been very pleased with it. I've never had a single complaint, nor have I ever had a single refund request, and I'm very proud of that. So guys, if you're interested in joining CT2A, this is the last day of the sale. It will be running through the end of today until 11:55 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. If you want to join, go ahead and check the link in the description. It'll be running for about another 12 hours when this video goes out. I said 24 earlier, but about another 12 hours when this video goes out. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.